Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Today we have Lydia Chevere, who is a public affairs specialist with the Social Security Administration. So she's going to talk with you about the basics of disability benefits. We are going to record the session today and make it available on our YouTube channel. So for anybody who maybe wanted to attend that wasn't able to, you can let them know that they will be able to watch the recording on YouTube. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Lydia. Thank you.
Hi, so hopefully you can all see me and hear me and see my screens. Yes, okay, good. So I want to thank you, all of you, for making SSA part of AASC webinar series. My name is Lydia Chevere. Just like Nina said, I am a public affairs specialist in the Office of Communications. I've been with the agency close to 22 years, and today I'll go over some things you need to know so that you can better assist people with disability and senior or older adults in your communities, including the differences between the SSI and SSDI programs, the eligibility requirements for both programs. I'll go over the disability process, our newest tool. I'll talk about our newest tool, and I'm also going to brush up on our anti-fraud efforts, okay? Okay, so how to contact us. So because our operational status has changed recently, I want to make sure I cover that right off the bat. So please know that we offer multiple service delivery options. As a first option, we recommend you visit our website at www.ssa.gov to conduct business online with us if able. We understand that this is not a viable option for everybody. So as a second option, you can call us to our 1-800 number, and that is 1-800-772-1213. During the pandemic, we were asking folks to call us, to call their local field offices directly for help. But now that we have resumed in-person services for people without appointments, we're asking people to call the national 1-800 number. You can still call our local field offices if that is your preference and direct folks to call their local field offices. But remember, our local staff is now handling those walk-ins, right? So they're busy with those walk-ins. I'm sorry, I'm trying to remove something here because there you go. Okay. So I did include the link to our office locator, and that is www.ssa.gov/locator, which you can use to locate an office by zip code or to find the number to your local field office. To schedule an appointment either by phone or in person, you can call our 1-800 number. Appointments are strongly recommended. They reduce waiting times and ensure people know what documents to bring so that we can help them hopefully in just one visit, right? Yay. Okay, so a couple of things we want you all to know before you call or visit our offices, or before you ask people to call us or visit our offices. We want to make sure that people know what to expect when calling, right? So number one, field office visitors must complete a self-assessment checklist. This is not, just to clarify, this is not a paper form or an online form that people have to submit to us. It's just a self-screener for COVID-19 symptoms only. And it's just to make sure that it's safe for the person to enter our buildings. Now, since many of our folks, many of the folks that we serve have underlying conditions, we are required to continue to implement safety measures such as social distancing and masking. So if a person comes to our offices wearing a mask, we will provide a mask for them. Now, because we have to continue to implement physical distancing, space may be limited. So we want people to know that they may have to wait outside, and that is whether they have an appointment or not, okay? So we don't want people to be surprised. We want them to be prepared. We want them to know this and to plan for the weather. We actually recommend that you visit our emergency webpage to check the status of your local field office before you come into an office. So we're asking that you please tell people to check our emergency webpage to make sure the office is open, right? If someone is calling the 1-800 number, our recommendation is for them to call before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. And just like, and I'll say that again, before 8 a.m. or after 4 p.m. And just like our field offices, our phone waits are generally shorter later in the day, later in the week, and later in the month. So you're better off calling later in the day, later in the week, later in the month, okay? And talking about phone calls, we want to remind folks that our representative will never call and promise a benefit increase in exchange for money or threaten you with arrest or legal action just because you cannot pay us right away, right? We do not collect money on the forms of gift cards, wire transfers, Bitcoin, or cash. We also ask that you share this information with others and help them identify legitimate communication from SSA so they can avoid becoming victims of fraud. So I just provided a detailed update about our current operational status. I'm now going to transition to our disability programs. I want to start by showing you this pie chart, mainly so that you can understand the monetary impact or effect Social Security has on our public economically. The pie chart shows the number of beneficiaries we pay, currently more than 6. In more than 1 in every 6 people in America is receiving a Social Security benefit. The majority of our beneficiaries are retired, but about 1/3 of our beneficiaries are disabled, survivors, or a dependent of a survivor. Okay, so we pay disability benefits through programs. One is the Social Security Disability Insurance Program known as SSDI, and the other one is the Supplemental Security Program known as SSI, right? SSDI covers disabled workers and in some cases the family members who depend on that worker financially. SSI pays benefit based on financial need. It provides financial support to people with limited income and resources who are age 65 or older, or disabled, or blind. The non-medical eligibility requirement for each program is different. However, the disability definition is the same for both programs. When you file an application for disability benefits with Social Security, we always check on your eligibility for both programs. And that is true really for all of our programs. We always check on your eligibility for all of our programs. When you apply for either program, we're gonna collect medical information and other type of information from you and make a decision about whether or not you meet our definition for disability benefits. So what's our definition for disability benefits? Okay, so the definition of disability under Social Security is different than other programs. Social Security only pays for total disability. No benefits are payable for partial disability or for short-term disability, right? The Social Security Act defines disability as a person who cannot work due to a severe medical condition that has lasted or is expected to last at least 1 year or result on death. And the person's medical condition must prevent him or her from doing substantial gainful employment, work that he or she did in the past, and it must prevent the person from adjusting to doing other type of work. And what do I mean by substantial gainful activity or SGA? We use the term SGA to describe a level of work activity and earnings. So work is considered substantial if it involves significant physical or mental activity or a combination of both, right? In 2022, earnings over $1,350 a month are considered usually substantial. We have higher limits for people with low vision or blind, okay? Here we have a side-by-side comparison table. So you can see the difference between the SSDI and SSI programs. I'm going to start at the top left. The SSDI payment come from Social Security trust funds and are based in a person's lifetime earnings. Workers become insured by working and paying Social Security taxes on their wages. If you qualify for SSDI, certain family members may get payments based on your work record, while the SSI payment comes from the general tax revenue. It is a needs-based public assistance program, and it does not require a person to have work and gain insurance status. If you qualify for SSI, no one else in your family qualifies based on your individual application. There may be other family members receiving SSI benefits, but not under the same household, but not under your application, right? For SSDI, we pay in proportion to what you paid into the system. For SSI, there's a set monthly amount, and it cannot exceed certain threshold, right? In 2022, the monthly SSI payment for an individual is $841 or $1,261 for a couple. It is possible to receive both SSDI and SSI benefit. That is what we call a concurrent application. If the SSDI benefit amount is below the SSI threshold, and again, that's $841 for an individual or $1,261 for a couple, the beneficiary may be able to get both SSI and SSDI. Now, the total amount cannot exceed the SSI maximum payable amount, okay? Now, another difference between the SSI and SSDI program is healthcare, but I'm going to cover that in a subsequent slide, okay? Now, I just covered the definition for Social Security disability benefits. I explained the differences between the SSI and SSDI program. I'm now going to cover the eligibility requirements for the SSDI program. So in addition to meeting the disability definition for disability, to be eligible for SSDI, you must meet two different earning tests. One is the recent work test, and that's based on your age at the time you became disabled. And the other one is the duration of work test to show that you worked long enough under Social Security. Now, for you to understand the recent work test and the duration of work test, I need to explain how you earn credits for Social Security purposes, right? So when you work and pay Social Security taxes, you earn what we call credits. And you need a minimum number of credits to become insured. The value of the credit changes every year. For 2022, you earn 1 credit for every $1,510 you make in earnings. Now, the number of credits you need to qualify for disability benefits depends on your age when you become disabled. Younger workers need fewer credits to be eligible for disability benefits, right? And by the way, you can only earn up to a maximum of 4 credits per year. Okay. So now let's look at this table here, and you'll see that by looking at the table, you'll see that to meet the recent work test, for example, if you look at the first row, workers under the age of 24 need 1.5 years of work in the 3 years leading up to their disability, right? Now, workers between the ages of 24 and 31 need to have worked 3 years out of 6 years leading up to the onset of their disability. And workers ages 31 or older need to have worked 5 years out of the 10 years before they became disabled, right? And this is the rule for recent work test. Now we're going to look at the rules for duration for work tests. This table shows an example of how much work you need to meet the duration of length of work tests. And as you can see, an individual who became disabled at the age of 28 will require less length of time than an individual who became disabled at the age of 45. Now, when should you apply for disability benefits? We encourage people to file for disability benefit as soon as possible. It generally takes about 3 to 5 months to obtain a medical determination. We do have fast track processes that allow us to approve some cases in a matter of days instead of months. These are known as the quick disability determination and the compassionate allowance, right? Both programs allow us to get you a faster or expedited medical decision if you're diagnosed with a condition that meets Social Security standards for disability benefits. We have over 225 medical conditions that qualify for our fast track processes. We have a lot more information about this on our website at ssa.gov. So if you could go to our website if you want to see which conditions qualify for the fast track, right? Now, there's 3 things that you need to do to apply for disability benefits. Number 1, you have to apply for Social Security disability benefits. Number 2, you have to complete a disability report. And the disability report collects information about your medical condition. And then you have to complete what we call Form SSA 827. And this form gives doctors, hospitals, and other healthcare professionals who have treated you permission to send us information about your medical condition. And this is why it takes 3 to 5 months to determine if you're disabled or not, right? Because we have to request the medical records, we have to wait until we get them, and then we have to evaluate them. Now, if you happen to have copies of those medical records and share those with us at the same time as you're applying, that we can also expedite your disability process. So that's something for you to share with others, another way of expediting the disability process. How do you apply for disability benefits? So I sort of covered this at the very, very beginning, but I do want you to know as you help others that we have a disability starter kit online to prepare, that helps people prepare for the interview. Right now, the quickest and fastest way and more convenient to file for benefit is online. When you file for benefits, it takes about an hour for disability when you file for disability benefits. But if you file online, you can start or stop the application. Okay, so you could file at your own pace. Now, let's see what happens after you file for disability benefits. And this is true for SSDI and SSI benefits. So Social Security staff will review the application to make sure you meet the non-medical requirements. We are the ones looking into the reason and duration of work tests, and we're also the ones evaluating any current work activities. If you are working, we're going to evaluate your work activity to determine if your earnings are substantial. If you're not working, or if we determine that your earnings are not substantial, we will forward your case to the Disability Determination Services Office. in your state, and that's also known as the DDS, right? DDS is the agency responsible for determining or making a decision on your disability case. So Social Security employees do not determine if the person is disabled, DDS does, okay? The doctors and the disability specialists on the DDS will request your medical records from the doctors or hospital. The person filing for benefit provided to us on their application. So for this reason, it is so important to provide us with all of the doctors, hospitals, or clinics you have visited with the disabling condition, okay, that you're filing for. The state agency will obtain and review the medical evidence from your doctors, hospitals, and clinics. If needed, they will contact you and request request a special examination. If that's the case, we'll pay for it. We also may follow up with your doctors and with you to determine to see how your disabling condition may affect your ability to do work-related activities such as walking, sitting, lifting, carrying, and so on. Now we have a 5-step evaluation process to decide if you're disabled according to our rules. I'm not going to go through every single one of the steps, but I want you to see that we have a 5-step evaluation process, because we always get a lot of questions about how the disability process, the decision was made, okay? Okay, so what happens, after we evaluate your case? So once the state agency makes a determination on your case, we're going to send a letter to the beneficiary. If approved, the WAR notice would explain when the benefits will start and the amount of your benefits and your reporting responsibilities, right? If not approved, the letter will explain why. If you disagree, if the person disagrees with the decision, they can appeal the decision. That means that we can take a second look at the case again, right? When a person appeals, requests an appeal, we're going to look at the entire decision, not just the part that the person disagrees with. And the most important part to remember about an appeal is the time frame you have to request one. Generally, it's about 60 days. Now, during COVID, we implemented a lot of flexibilities and expanded or extended a lot of our time frames. And because we're in a transition period right now, my recommendation will be to visit our website for the most up-to-date information as it relates to the appeals process right now. But in general, this is what you need to know about the appeals process. There are 4 levels of appeal. If you are not satisfied with the decision at one level, you may appeal to the next level until all options are exhausted. The levels are reconsideration, hearing, appeals council review, and federal court, right? The appeal must be done in writing, but the fastest way to do that is online, again, at ssa.gov. You can file online and you could provide documents, additional supporting documents electronically. You can also check the status of your appeal online with a personal My Social Security account, and you could check the status whether you file for the appeal online or by mail or in an office, okay? Once you start receiving Social Security disability benefits, certain family members may qualify for benefit based on your work record. They include your spouse at age 62 or at any age if caring for a child under the age of 16 or disabled. Divorced spouses may qualify if he or she was married to the worker for at least 10 years, is not currently married, and does not qualify for a benefit equal or higher under his or her own earnings record. Children can receive benefits under the age of 18 or 19 if still in high school full-time students, or older but disabled prior to the age of 22. Now, I want to note that the money paid to a divorced spouse does not reduce the benefit amount paid to the worker, the current spouse, or children. And that's important to clarify because we always get a lot of questions about that. Oopsie. Okay, so again, another difference between the SSI and SSDI program is the type of health insurance. Medicare is a federal health insurance program for people age 65 and older. SSDI beneficiaries typically have to wait about 2 years before they can get Medicare benefits. There are a few exceptions to that, but most people have to wait those 24 months, okay? Medicaid is the state health insurance program for people with limited income and resources. In most states, Medicaid comes automatically with the SSI eligibility. In some states, you need to apply separately for Medicaid benefits. So I'm going to transition now to the SSI program, but to recap, we covered the eligibility requirements for SSDI. We talked about Medicare and Medicaid, and also we talked about and covered dependent or family benefits.
Lydia?
Uh-huh.
All right, before we continue, there's a few questions in the chat. I'm not sure if you want to answer those now or if you want to hold till the end.
I could take one now. Should we do that? Maybe two?
Sure. So one of the questions was about elderly and disabled residents in terms of going into the office. Are there accommodations for long lines and things like that as it relates to summer and high temperatures and having to wait outside?
So that's a really good question. We do have people outside. We do have 2 different lines because we're trying to move people as quickly as possible. But the reality is that we do not have control over those lines. It really depends, what's happening that day. Some days we get more people than others. And that is why we're asking folks to please check our website before they come to our office, check the weather, dress accordingly, comfortably, and so on. But that is a really good question that unfortunately the situation is that to check the website.
Thank you.
And the weather. Maybe we could take one more.
Sure. The other question was, well, super fast, I guess. Are you able to share this PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. And there's several other questions that are rolling in, but if you'd like, we can wait to the end to get those.
I think we'll wait into the. I will have time for Q&As for sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So where are we? Okay. So transitioning. Okay. So I said earlier that the Supplemental Security Income or SSI program makes monthly payments to people who have low income and resources and who are age 65 or disabled or blind, right? The definition, the disability definition for both SSDI and SSI is the same, but the eligibility requirements are different, and that's what I'm going to be talking about right now. And by the way, I want to point out another difference between the SSI and SSDI program, and that is that children who are blind or who have a disability may get SSI benefits. Under SSDI, children can only get benefit as dependent, okay? Now, while they can get benefits on their own, the definition of the disability definition for children is a little different, right? Most children under the age of 18 don't work or own a lot of assets. So for eligibility purposes, we count the parents' income and resources, right? And if you think about it, we're really not going to ask a child, can you work, right? That's an adult standard. So for a child, the disabling condition must have marked and severe functional limitations. So when you file an application for SSI, we will ask you about all of your income and resources. If you're married, we're gonna also ask about your spouse's income and resources. The payment amount is based on income, leave-in arrangement, and the state in which you live. Income is any item that you receive in cash or in kind that can be used to meet your basic needs like food and shelter. There are 3 types of income. There's earned income, and examples of that will be wages or earnings for self-employment. There's also unearned income, and that includes things like Social Security benefits, VA benefits, pensions, unemployment benefits. And then we have in-kind income, and that is food or shelter that you get for free or for less than is fair market value on a regular basis. Resources are things that you own, such as real estate, bank accounts, cash, stocks, bonds. We do not, there's certain things that we don't count. We do not count the house where you live in. We don't count your first car, if you have more than one. We don't count bureau plats or resources set aside for bureau plats. Sorry. And then to get SSI benefits, you must live in the U.S. or Northern Mariana Island and be a U.S. citizen. Now, in some cases, certain non-citizen may be able to get SSI benefits, but honestly, the rules get a little bit complicated here because every case is different. So I recommend you refer people to our to Social Security for additional questions and regarding this regarding SSI benefits for non-citizens. So living arrangements is one of the things that we have to consider when determining your benefit amount. And your living arrangement is where you live, right? And that is true whether you live alone or with someone, or if you live in an institution like a nursing home, right? So when determining your living arrangement situation, we also need to know who pays your food, shelter, and utilities. Now, because SSI is a needs-based program, beneficiaries are required to report any changes that may affect their SSI eligibility as soon as possible, right? So the amount paid may not be the same every month. The benefit amount depends on your income and living arrangement. If the amount of the payment is going to change, we will tell the person in advance. Examples of things people must report include things like changes in income, resources, living arrangement, marital status, address, and their medical, or maybe if their medical condition improves, right? For a complete list, you can visit our website. If you work, you need to report your wages on a monthly basis. Wages can be reported online with a My Social Security account or over the phone. We have a dedicated phone line for reporting wages. Now, how do you apply for SSI benefits? And here it gets a little tricky because while we do have an SSI application, it's a bit limited. If you are between the ages of 18 and 65, you can start the application process online, but only a few folks within that age group will be able to complete the application. If you are age 65 and older, you have to call us and schedule an appointment, okay? Now, if you're under the age of 65, you have a few options. I'm sorry, if you're under the age of 18, you have a few options. You can call us and let us know that you want to apply for SSI benefits, or you could schedule an appointment, or you could begin the process online by completing the disability report, and a representative will contact you at a later time to complete the application. So again, most people will be at the minimum able to start the application. Not everybody's going to be able to complete the application online, but if you're 65 and older, for sure you have to contact us. And I think that's the all you have to remember there. We want people to know that while we remain committed to continue to provide services in person and over the phone, most of Social Security services are available online. The Social Security website is a valuable resource of information about all of Social Security programs, and is accessible for a computer, tablet, and smartphone. And I think I already mentioned or gave you about at least 10 good reasons to go to our website. And if that's not enough, I also want to talk to you very briefly about the My Social Security account. If you do not have a My Social Security account, you need to add this to your to-do list today. And by the way, as service coordinators, you cannot open an account for other people, but you could help them open an account, okay? My Social Security account is a personalized tool that gives you immediate access to your Social Security information, whether you receive benefits or not, right? And your account basically gives you information that you need whenever you need it, and all without having to go or visit a Social Security office. There's a lot that you can do. I'm not going to go over everything you can do, but I do want to highlight a few things. You can find out if you're insured for SSDI. If you haven't applied for benefit yet, you can check the status of your application or appeal online. You can request a benefit verification letter or get a replacement Social Security card. A lot of people need to prove that they're either getting Social Security benefits or not. That letter is available online within My Social Security account. If you're already getting benefits, you can change your address. You can update your direct deposit information. You can request a replacement 1099. And again, this is just a few of the things that you can do. I am not going to spend more time on that, but I do want you to know that we have a video on our YouTube channel and walks people through the steps of opening an account. It really doesn't take that much time, and it's fairly easy to open an account. Okay, so moving on. Shortly after the pandemic started, Social Security launched what we're calling the People Facing Barriers campaign in an effort to help those who might had experienced barriers with accessing our services. And really the purpose was to help mitigate some of those barriers. So we started offering training to third-party organizations on how to either start or complete the application for SSI benefit. And we did this as a way to help people connect to our benefits and services. So third-party organizations, just like your service coordinators, can now either start or complete an application for SSI benefits, or just refer people to us. So we encourage you to contact us if interested in additional training. And the training is for third-party organizations is really how to complete the paper application. But additionally, and I think this is something that you're really going to be interested on, we launched a new tool for people interested in applying for supplemental security income. And to clarify, the new tool is not an application for benefit, but another option for folks to let us know they want to apply for SSI benefits. And very quickly, without getting into too many details, but with some of our benefits, we can pay retroactively, right? But with SSI, we cannot. Now, we can pay the person from the first time they show interest or intent to file for benefits. That's what we call protective filing. So someone call us today, it's May, but we're not able to schedule an appointment into June or July. We may be able to pay them back all the way to May, because that was the first time they show interest or intent to file for benefits, as long as they meet all of the eligibility requirements, right? And what I like about this new tool, and I actually have a screenshot of the new tool, is that third-party organizations, caregivers, advocates, service coordinators can use the tool to express interest about applying for SSI on behalf of someone they're helping. Okay, and honestly, it's just the tool is actually a request. Is a request for an appointment to file for benefit. It takes about 5 minutes to submit a request, maybe 10 at the most. And the other thing that I like is that if you are requesting an appointment to file for benefits for somebody else, both you as the requester and the person get a notice from Social Security. So now you get confirmation that the request went through, and the person interested in applying for benefit also get a notice from us with a date and time for an appointment. Okay. And actually with this, I'm going to conclude my presentation. I hope you found the information I highlighted today of value to you. I do want to thank you in advance for keeping others informed. I know that you are a very important voice in your communities, and for your convenience, I included my name and contact information on the last slide. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have now. I do want to say I do not work in a field office, so there may be some field office specific questions that I may not be able to answer, but I could certainly answer general questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Lydia. Appreciate it. I'll go through the questions in the chat, and then if it's a question that you can answer, feel free. If it's not, then I can share or if it's okay, I can share the field office contact with registrants as well. Mm-hmm. Okay, so one of the questions was, are you able to collect SSDI benefits as well as SSI?
Yes, and as explained at the beginning, there is a threshold for SSI benefits, but you're able to collect both SSI and SSDI benefit as long as the total amount does not exceed the maximum allowable threshold for SSI benefits. And this year, that maximum amount, the amount is $841 for an individual and $1,261 for a married couple.
Wonderful, thank you. Another question is, Rachel on the call has an elderly woman who's been living as a resident for 5 years in the US, but has never worked in the US. Would she be eligible for benefits?
I mean, it depends. She may, as I said, when you said a resident, right? So this is where it gets a little bit complicated, and each case is different. And I do recommend that you contact our field office for specific information because every case is different. But for SSI benefits, we're looking into resources and income, and it's for individuals 65 and older who have limited, who are 65 and older, disabled or blind. For SSDI benefits, that's different. They need to earn insurance status. So I'm not sure if the person worked or not. So honestly, the answer is it depends.
Thank you. Ebony, your question about placing the 4 levels of appeals in the chat, I'm going to send a copy of the PowerPoint out to registrants after the event, so you should be able to get that there. The next question is, can the monthly SSDI be sent to overseas if the client moves or lives overseas, not in the US?
Monthly SSDI? Yes, we can send benefits overseas. We have a list of countries where we cannot. For that list, you could visit our website at ssa.gov. But for the most part, we are able to send benefits overseas, yes.
The next question is, if you have a married If you have a couple who were married and legally separated but not divorced, are they still eligible for SSDI if the spouse is receiving benefits?
So you said married, legally separated, but not divorced. Are they eligible for what?
SSDI benefits that the spouse is receiving.
For spouse benefits?
Mhm.
I don't see why not. I don't see why not. I mean, if the worker is receiving SSDI benefits and they have a spouse, because technically there will still be a spouse, they can receive benefit as long as they're age 62 or older, or younger if they have a child under the age of 16 or disabled. Yes.
Wonderful. Another question about, it says, I have a disabled resident who was requested to complete a disability recertification for the first time in 20 years. The documents were mailed 2 weeks prior to the late date. However, the resident received a denial letter stating document was not received and placed on SSI starting in June. The resident went directly to the office, but was told nothing could be done. The denial from disability would stand. How would you correct this?
I'm afraid I cannot answer this question online, but I would recommend that you call the appeal office.
The next question is about the My Social Security, so the individual account that you talked about earlier, wanting to know why in the account it would say that they were getting one amount, but when you call the field office, you're told a different amount.
Benefit amount?
Correct.
Is this an award letter?
It does not specify in the question.
Does not specify. I mean, there could be a number of reasons for the discrepancies. Usually, if there's a discrepancy, is not a significant. If the numbers are very close, it's not like a significant. And I mean, but when you check your My Social Security account, usually the award letter is there, so it's and I will go with the award letter. Not sure if you're looking at the amount that include or excludes Medicare benefits. I mean, there's a number of reasons for the discrepancy.
Okay. Lori, you may have to chime in here. I see your question falls into two different lines. It says a resident moved in homeless with no work record, is not married long enough to draw down on ex's. It looks like she needs SSI for medical reasons. Lori, if you're still on the call, maybe unmute yourself and explain that a little bit more, because I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Okay. And to circle back to Ebony's question about the let me go back up here 1 second. The 4 levels of appeal. I'm not sure if that was in your slides. If not, where would they find that information?
Oh, so I can send you a fact sheet that we have that describes the 4 levels of appeal separately, Nina.
Wonderful, thank you. Those are all the questions in the chat. If there's any other questions, feel free to drop them in quickly. If not, Lydia's information is on the screen. As I said earlier, we will be sharing the recording of this with you all through our YouTube channel, and I will send a copy of the PowerPoint out to all of the registrants after the event. Thank you, Lydia. We appreciate your time. This is super helpful.
Thank you.
All right, I'm not seeing any other questions, so thank you, everyone. Have a good day.